Welcome back to another GeekaWhat video. Today I'm doing something very different, but hopefully something I want to do more. If you watch my recent channel update, you will know that I purchased the EVGA 750W SuperNova G2 80 plus gold certified power supply on Black Friday for a really great deal here in the UK, and I'll be sort of unboxing, if you will, overviewing and reviewing that power supply in today's GeekaWhat video. So drop a like rating, make sure to subscribe. Sorry for some of the content, some of the footage isn't of the highest quality, but I'm going to make some upgrades in that department, don't you worry. So let's first start with the box. The box is very nice. Originally I was very impressed by the Corsair packaging that I received on a Corsair power supply a while back, but I tell you what, the EVGA have really one-upped Corsair, especially once we get inside the box. So if we open the box, which does have a carrying handle, which I was very surprised at, but a very nice feature indeed, something which other manufacturers' boxes lack completely. Now on the left hand side you have the power supply in a cloth type bag, which is just a nice touch. It isn't going to be keeping your power supply safe if you want to carry it around everywhere, but it's definitely going to protect it in shipping from getting any loose items in the case from colliding with the power supply and causing imperfections. We've then got two foam gloves, if you will, on either end to keep it firm in place, and these are quite soft foam, which is definitely good and will definitely survive multiple impacts. I can't really relate it to case foam, however I can tell you that your power supply is probably going to end up at your door in one piece unless you've got some crazy parcel shipping company. On the right hand side you have all your cables. Under the cables is another Velcro bag, which you can store your cables in. So you've got a bag for your power supply, bag for your cables. Very nice. Cables don't come in a bag, and instead they come in twist ties, and then I've emptied mine into the bag for the purposes of this video. So talking about cables, what cables do you get? Now there are a huge amount of variety of cables that you get. You get up to 9 SATA power harnesses to power up to 9 normal SATA 3 hard drives, or SATA 2. They all use the same standard for power as opposed to data. You get a 20 plus 4 pin motherboard power connector. You also get 4 6 plus 2 pin GPU power connectors, one peripheral power, so a Molex splitter if you will, and then you also get 2 4 plus 4 pin CPU power connectors, really to provide juice to any motherboard out there, whether that be a dual socket motherboard or one that's extremely veered of overclocking, as many of the modern X99 boards have 2 4 plus 4 pin power inputs, just so you can overclock your CPU a hell of a lot more. So power wise, this has got you pretty much covered. With the 4 6 plus 2 pin GPU power connectors, you're going to be supporting up to 2-way SLI. You can probably fit 3-way SLI and 3-way crossfire on this power supply if you are using lower power GPUs, but if you're spending that much money on SLI anyway, then the chances are it's going to be doing two cards with 2 6 plus 2 pin power connectors. It's a very nice looking power supply. On the top, or the bottom, if you will, depending on the orientation in your case, you've got a 140mm silent optimized fan. On either side, you've got the logo, the EVGA logo with the wattage for the design of this power supply, so you can show it off if your side panel window does show that. Don't worry, one isn't upside down, it's just that way so that it's the right way around depending on the orientation, whether you've got top intake or bottom intake on your power supply. On the back, you've got some nice venting and an eco switch, as well as an on and off switch. The eco switch just means that it will not spin the fan up when it's not under significant load, something which I've demonstrated here by plugging the power supply in to a Molex fan and then bridging the 20 plus 4 pin connector with the tool provided. Now what do I mean by the tool provided? This power supply and EVGA as a company are very much geared to overclocking and water cooling, and so much so that their graphics cards, going on a slight tangent, you're not going to avoid your warranty if you do overclock their graphics cards, something which is very impressive and has impressed me a hell of a lot in the past. The 20 plus 4 pin bridge tool basically allows you to power up a system or power up whatever cables are plugged into your power supply without having to press a motherboard power button or a power button on your case. So you don't have to go through your motherboard, you don't have to be plugged into your motherboard. So why is that helpful? Well, first, it allows people to test their power supply, so I've been able to test it in this scenario, as I said, with a Molex fan, and it's worked absolutely perfectly. And it also is great for water coolers. Now if you don't know, when you're water cooling and using a reservoir which holds the water, you fill the liquid into the reservoir, and then you turn the power supply on until the reservoir goes, and you don't want to run your pump dry. So then you turn your power supply off, refill your reservoir, on, off, etc, and if that was a case button, it simply would be too slow, and you would actually break your water cooling pump. So that's pretty much the only purpose for that. There's also some cool stuff that people have done with it before, like mount fans on their wall and then use the power supply that way. It just means you don't have to have a power button on your motherboard or your case to be able to turn the system on, or this power supply on specifically. That's pretty much it for the features. It's got 100% Japanese capacitors, which is a really nice touch again. The components inside this are of a very high quality, and it's 80 plus gold certified, which means that it's gonna perform at a very, very high efficiency, the numbers of which are on your screen now, purely because I can't remember every single number in the table off by heart, but it is an 80 plus gold certified power supply, making it more efficient and also making it so that you save money at the wall and produce less heat, because if you didn't know, when you draw power, you never ever lose energy. It instead converts to different forms. So rather than having all of the energy from the wall go into your system and power the components, some of it will then turn into heat and some of it will turn into light, etc, etc. The cables are also the last thing I want to mention. There are very, very nice cables included. They're not to the quality of braided cables, however you can pick up Cable Mods cables or EVGA's third-party braided cables, or even braid these cables yourself if you do desire, but the cables are of a very high quality. They're all black, so they're fully black, which I absolutely love, because it just means that you've not got a rainbow going on by your motherboard, and especially if you're on a tighter budget and you don't want to have to spend that extra money on extension cables, then it's just a really nice touch. And at the end of the day, why should you have to spend money on extension third-party cables if the ones included are of a high quality enough themselves? This is a nice high range power supply, and it definitely competes with something such as an RM 800 or 750 watt power supply from Corsair, and then the stuff from Phoenix and XFX. This is a very solid power supply. I would definitely recommend it to those of you looking for a power supply, a budget power supply that's of a very high quality and is 80 plus gold certified, because that just means that you can shove more components through this power supply. If you have enjoyed this video, have found it helpful, drop a like rating below, make sure to subscribe, and we'll as always see you in the next GeekaWhat video.